we're in there shopping.
Did you see the way you just...
And this little shit decides he wants to play hide and seek without telling anybody he's going to play hide and seek. He just disappears. And I'm looking around for him. I can't find him. I'm hollering for him. His mom's hollering for him. We can't find him. So now we're kind of freaked out. Somebody's taking him. He's like 5 years old.
Cowboy boots on.
Well, cowboy boots on and shorts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the So Fucking Awesome Show. My guest to my right is Mr. Chip Davis, the one and only Chips and Dip, Chips Ahoy, the Chipster, Chipperoni, the one and only, my dad. He's a great guy. He's the one who started me at drumming at a very early age. And it's just progressed into what I am now. I'm not like a great drummer by anything, but I give it my all. And, I give that dedication and that motivation to you, to see you still apply yourself to drums these days. And my co-host to my left again is Mr. Chris Haley. And we'll just let you go ahead and take it off and just tell us. Actually, there was a couple, which is Covington Chip. All right. So since God. I grew up with you, this is going to be a very personal. No. So Covington, tell me about. So you skateboarded. I remember, right? Because there was that one long hill in Covington.
A little. I did some skateboarding a little.
Yeah.
Of course, my thing was playing drums and being in band and doing that stuff, but. Yeah, I did have a skateboard, and yes, we did go down the hill.
Dude, it is steep.
Steep 12th Street.
Yeah.
Steep 12th Street. In the wintertime, when the roads, would get snow and ice, they would block off the top of the hill to not let cars go down it, but we would go down it on sleds and on cardboard and whatever. So... You get top the hill, and you'd have kids on Hermes Avenue watching for cars, and we would slide down the hill that way. One year we had two kids on a sled, and they double stacked on top of each other, was going down steep 12th Street, and a car came, and so they kind of went to the left, but on the left side of steep 12th Street coming up the hill was parked cars. And they went up underneath one of the cars, and the kid on the top broke his collarbone.
Oh, shit.
And got wedged underneath the car. We had to lift the front of the car up to get the kid out from underneath the car. But
Damn. One of my early childhood memories, I don't know how old I was, but we were going to... Where'd Grandma live? Right there, where all her flowers were.
Pike Street in Covington.
Okay, yeah. So Pike Street... Remember, you guys had went out to the casino, I think it was, or maybe a night out, I can't remember. But the hooker across the street.
Oh, that was the Living Inn. 2 doors down from your grandma's house was Herb and Thelma's Bar, which is there, and they have the best cheeseburgers in the world. So if you go to Covington, go to Herb and Thelma's, get a cheeseburger.
There's that plug.
Yeah, there it is. I'll expect some...
Yeah, but there was... I'd look out... Grandma had a big bay window.
And then right across the street, up the hill a little ways from that bar, was a bar called the Living Inn. And all the hookers stood in the front door trying to get clientele to come in.
And here I am.
And Brook was in the window. We pulled up, and Brook's in the front window with his tongue stuck to the window.
I became a man that night.
We were talking about this last night. Tell us about the cowboy boots he had, like when he was younger, man.
Oh, my God.
I told you.
Do you know... Was he thinking he was a cowboy? Was he emulating something else he saw on TV, or was it just these were his boots?
These were his pride and joy. He wore them things with shorts. If he was in his underwear, he had his boots on.
Fuck yeah.
I don't exactly know. I got pictures.
Should have had him bring them.
Fuck.
We'll put it in the edit.
Right.
Right. So yeah, he had these gray, kind of snakeskin boots. One of my favorite stories of Brook when he was little. This around he's 5. Sunday morning, and the church bus was coming through the park to pick kids up.
Rolling Acres. Or no, not Rolling Acres. Northwood. Yeah, Gold Coast. Northwood.
Gold Coast. And church bus was coming by to pick up the kids to take them to Sunday school or whatever. And Brook was outside playing in the yard, and I just happened to glance out the window, and as the church bus comes by, Brook's out there with both birds up, flipping the church bus as it's going by the house. Brook, what are you doing? Nothing.
Sounds about right.
Get your ass in here.
Yeah, church still isn't a thing for me. No, that's cool. I got some fond memories of. I still remember, you pitching like wiffle ball to me or something, and
yes.
I hit you in the nuts with the baseball. Yes. Yeah, that's classic. Yeah, I remember that.
Thank God it was a wiffle ball.
And I mentioned, so this would be on the last episode. I had talked about me humping everything.
Do you want me to tell the story?
Which one?
Which one he said?
The bathtub.
I was talking about
Booker's across the street, cowboy boots and humping everything.
Yeah, I told him about.
You're all coming together for me now.
Yeah. So I was talking about where Mom had lived over there across from the bowl. Oh, I don't know if you were talking to Mom then. I can't remember. I just remember they had that. I had that like that 3-foot tall stuffed Donatello or something, and I would just like hump the shit out of that guy.
I didn't know that you were humping that thing at the time.
Yeah, he cuddled up with it. So Chip, what were you? You're 25 when you met Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. 25.
When I transplanted to Illinois.
Transplant.
Why'd you do that?
Well, my sister and my mom was like, "You need to get out of Covington before somebody kills you or you kill them." So.
Oh yeah, so the whole Covington Chip. This is what I'm talking about. I wanted to talk about not exactly at like what you're like. It wasn't like radical. I mean, kind of. I guess it was because Grandpa Bobby's dope as fuck. But what was so? How old were you when I was born? 85. You'd been 20, right?
Yeah. Because you were 5 years old when I.
Yep. So you'd have been 15 in 80. So what was it like growing up, getting your license in the 80s? What was your first car? Because I do remember the Cutlass, the red. No. What was the red one? Red one.
Trino.
The red and white one. Yeah, that thing was fucking dope, dude.
My first car was.
We got that story too.
1972 Mach 1 Mustang.
Really?
It was $250. Sat on this farmer behind his barn for a long time, and I bought it. The back quarter panel on the driver's side was smashed in, and $250. Had 351 Cleveland 4-barrel in it. It would get up and go. If you looked at it from the front of the car or on the driver's side, it looked really cool. If you went around to the passenger side, not so much.
A little beat up. Beat up Betsy.
I drag raced that quite a bit back home with a buddy of mine named Ray Craddock. He had a Nova.
Oh, okay.
And we'd run the Mustang in a Nova.
Deadly duo. Deadly duo.
But I was young, dumb, and stupid, and I didn't realize that if you didn't have good tires on the back of your car, the tires were bald. And the one time that I wasn't racing the car or speeding in it, I was going down a hill on Cowles Lane, Turkey Foot Road, out of that area. And it just rained just enough to make the road slick. And as I was going down the hill, the car hydroplaned.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
I turned completely sideways, and I was traveling down this road, and my car was coming to a stop, slowing down, and this lady in this big old Cadillac coming around the bend. She saw me slide, and she didn't stop. She just right into the side of the car, totaled the car. That was the end of the Mach 1.
How old were you then? 17?
About 18 years old.
About 18. Damn.
See, unfortunately,
This is during college?
it was
Right at high school.
Yeah.
Or right at the okay, yeah.
So, unfortunately, they changed the laws about having mandatory car insurance when I turned 16. And my mom was like, I can't afford to pay for car insurance for you, so you don't get to get your license when you're 16. I've been driving since I was 14, but I had to wait till I was 18 to sign for my license on my own because mom couldn't afford the car insurance.
Right.
So, yeah.
I feel that. So, what was your, well, I guess it would have been Kiss, wouldn't it? Your band of choice back then? Were you part of the Kiss Army then?
Oh, yeah. I had the
He
Kiss
said,
Army sit-
you see, he did not hesitate with that answer. He says, "Oh yeah," and
Yeah, well, Kiss was the very first concert I ever went and saw. 1976. I was 10 years old.
he's got it down. March 7th, fucking 76.
It was in May.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. It was May.
Let's get
May
the deets
14th.
right. Let's get the deets right. The Grandpa Bobby took you to that?
No.
No? Your mom?
No. I went, and my best friend, Kenny Galore, went.
Wow, 10 years old, just fucking going to concerts by themselves.
Yeah,
Could you
it was
imagine?
The 70s.
Yeah. It was.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're fucking not wrong.
Parents like take you over to the suspension bridge and say, "Now walk across the bridge. The concert's right there on the
I
other
was gonna say,
side."
you remember the stuff we did when we were kids? Would you let Layla do that today?
Oh, fuck no. No.
So that's
sir.
how he was able to go to concerts when he was a 10.
Yeah.
But the world was different then.
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like it was easier.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was easier, but you have more
Yeah.
people. Your community, like my neighborhood where I grew up at. If we were messing up, screwing around, doing something stupid that we weren't supposed to do,
Everybody's mom was your mom.
neighbor come out and kick you in your ass and send you home, and then they call your parents. Hey, I just kicked Chip in the ass because he was doing something stupid.
Yep.
And then my parents get on the ass when I get home, because that's the way it was. I mean, the parents look out for all the other kids in the neighborhood, and
Right.
and you always knew when a stranger come into your neighborhood. You know, our neighborhood consisted of 2 blocks. You went past 2 blocks, it's somebody else's turf, somebody else's, and if you were by yourself and there was 3 or 4 of the people from the other turf, they'd want to
They would
jump you or
yeah.
chase you, or you make friends with them, but or the case may be.
Yeah, free for all, Save your own ass. No, I feel that. Yeah,
I mean, like today, a lot of people don't even know who their neighbors are.
Yeah.
Who's your next door neighbor?
Brook.
But I'm saying in general.
I mean, I know mine, but yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you though. Yeah.
Especially the bigger cities you get to.
Yeah. So what was your next car after that? Yeah, the Mach 1.
76 Mustang.
He's just over here fucking hot rodding.
It was just the cars back then, man.
But you got to realize cars were cheaper then.
Yeah.
And the cars I was buying was junk cars.
Yeah, I mean, like those have been out for so long at that point. That was like me when I bought my Ford Focus. It's a 10-year-old car. That's just what you can afford then.
Right.
So this one was it was mostly blue, but
Blue and rust.
But there was a lot of primer, different color on
Bondo.
there might have been some Bondo in it, but
Right.
I remember I had Roger, your Uncle Roger, put an 8-track player in it, and I used the house stereo speaker.
Fucking dope.
And wired it up, and it had the sunroof that cranked. It had a crank handle sunroof.
Damn.
And so when you went to parties out to the park or whatever, you could pull your car up there and crank open that sunroof and then take that speaker out, set it on top of your car,
Nice.
and then, play your 8 tracks, Eagles' greatest hits or something like,
Right.
and
That's dope.
Thought I was cool then. No, not so much.
No, but you did, however, got a scholarship to Georgetown University.
Eastern Kentucky University.
Or Eastern, sorry. Correction.
Nope, you're fine.
Home of the Bulldog?
Colonels.
Oh.
You're way off. Did you do your research for this episode?
Well, Bulldogs were my high school mascot.
Nope. Yeah.
High school.
High school. There you go. That was close. That was close. Yeah. So, and then, yeah, you now also, you were a drum teacher at our local high school that we have here in this town. And then now you run your own Drumline Institute in this town, do your own parades. You have your own marching equipment. And where do you what's your goal with that? And we'll say 5 years. I mean,
I just take it one day at a time, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
you're doing really well now. I mean, you're playing baseball games, Cubs Cardinals games, right? Did you play that?
Well, we played for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what team they played. It wasn't the Cubs though.
Oh.
But it was Jacksonville night at the stadium.
Oh, right, yep.
And we were invited down to play for Busch Stadium.
Right.
And which we did. Then we went to then I got a phone call from some people in St. Louis wanting us to do the 4th of July parade. And in this past year, but I told them I was already committed to doing Jacksonville, our hometown parade. And so they said, well, we want you for the Thanksgiving Day parade. So this year
cool.
we're going to go down and play at the Thanksgiving Day parade in St. Louis. It's kind of like the Macy's.
Right, well, I was going to say, I'm like, next stop Macy's. So, I mean...
Well, actually, I've sent them an email. And
yes.
And
I love it. I love the drive. I respect it so much.
I have to wait till March. You have to submit your want to do it in March, and you got to put a resume together of what you've done. So right now...
So you're pushing for some more, like, more high-end or high spectator.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've done last year. We went to Kings Island in Cincinnati, Ohio. We played in Northern Kentucky at the Boo Park.
Mm-hmm.
On the Friday night, Saturday morning, we got up, we went to Kings Island, performed. And then Sunday morning, we went down to my old high school, Holmes High School in Covington. And
that's right.
we were going to do a performance there, but it was raining, so I kind of canceled the performance because of the rain. But the kids did get to go on the campus and see what my old high school was like.
Right.
And we got some pictures of them up on the balconies of the building because my high school was a castle in the 1800s. It's my high school is like in my heart. That's
what's up. That's badass.
It is one of the best parts of my childhood was the high school.
Cool. That's what's up.
Is Drumline all ages, or is it... What is
your Drumline all ages?
Well, I have a beginner's class that starts out about 6 or 7 year olds up to like 11, and then middle school kids through high school. I have some kids who just graduated, but I have them come back and help us out when we're shorthanded.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let them actually perform with me until they're 21. And the only reason why 21's the deadline is because of DCI Drum and Bugle Corps.
Right, so I figure it has something to do with like a school, tuition or like grants or whatever you're probably, able to get, you know what I mean? I'm sure that it has to have a cutoff. Now, I'm sure I could walk in and volunteer all I wanted, right? Yeah,
if I had enough adults that wanted to do it, I'd put an adult drum line together.
Right.
I'd do it. It'd be awesome. I miss it.
I would definitely put an adult drum line together if I had enough adults that wanted to do it.
Yeah, but good luck with that.
Allison would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
I'd do it.
Who's gonna lead us?
Did Park do marching band?
Oh yeah.
The way he plays, it sounds like he would have.
I think he did.
It sounds about right. There's still just his style.
We'll have to get you back sometime and get you here with Brandon. He's a phenomenal drummer. I grew up with him. He's amazing.
World touring drummer.
Yep, world touring drummer. He's amazing. He was I don't know. Was he the drummer for like 5 or 6 years?
It's like an album and a half or something like that worth,
of this death metal band out of Colorado, Allegaon. plug for them. They just lost their lead singer, actually. But now he's just a good old country boy running lights and farming pumpkins.
Yeah, I was going to growing pumpkins.
And doing fiber optics. No, he's a good cat, though. He's a phenomenal drummer, but I'm not sure if he did marching band. I think he did.
It's the way he plays, I guarantee he did.
Yeah, he's
Once you're a drummer, you'll never stop being a drummer.
Right. No, I feel that. I'm part of so many drumming pages, and there's so many. I mean, old timers or boomers, whatever you want to call them. But I mean, they're all still there with these immaculate fucking kits that they spent their adult money on. You know what I mean? Like.
No, Faye said something about wanting to play the quints when we were there. And I was so I was gonna see what the age range was. She'd be right perfect to get started right about now.
Yeah, so you bring them out. I always tell the parents that are interested in coming to JDI, I invite them and I invite the kid, come to practice and just sit and watch. It won't cost you nothing. Come in, watch what we're doing, see how we're teaching, and see if you like the style and if they think they'd be happy.
Cool.
And if you both are happy with it, sign on the dotted line, come on in. Like the beginner kids, only charge $20 a month. That's $5 a lesson.
For sure, yeah.
The older kids, I charge $50 a month. And there's some kids who can't afford it. And the ones who can't afford it, we find some community service with the church for them to help out with or something, that needs to be done. And as long as they're willing to do that, then they get to do it for free.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's Jacksonville Drumline Institute.
Yep.
You just have a Facebook page, or do you have a .com?
We have the Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Jacksonville Drumline Institute. That's in Illinois. That is not in Florida.
We've been asked that.
Yeah.
There's a House of Ink in Florida.
Is
Jacksonville,
there?
Florida. We for a long time we got each other's mail. For a long time.
That's wild. Yeah, I've only ever found not as far as business wise, but another Brook Krause there. I think she's in Missouri, and she's like some highly respected doctor or author, one of the two, I can't remember, but it's Brook with an E, and it is the last name Krauser. So shout out to her wherever she is.
She must be listening to
But
this.
yeah, so I was telling a little tidbit about Jake. That's my brother and Chip's son. He went through a phase where he added nothing but Jacob Davis's, added all the Jacob Davis's on the internet, on Facebook.
He would.
You're such
He would. That would take forever.
Why?
It's Jacob.
I was gonna say it's Jacob. That sounds like
Yeah,
something.
we all knew my brother. I remember one time when I heard this saying, but then my parents caught me saying this saying to Jacob because he's a ginger. Okay. And I was like, listen here, you little redheaded pecker on a poodle. And Chip was like, I think I got grounded for a week for saying that.
Every story he had last night was, I did this, I got grounded. I did this, I got in trouble. I did this.
Oh, if you let Holly over here to discuss being grounded, she was like, I was grounded my whole life. No, you wasn't.
Barely. I was grounded my whole life.
I can see him.
I got grounded for spray painting license plates. I got grounded for squirting all of Chip's Gillette shaving cream out the bathroom window and blaming it on Charles.
There was something you did last night that what was it you were talking about? I don't remember what it was now. But it sounded like he was quite the troublemaker back then.
He was the troublemaker back then, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Stories on stories.
This little shit.
Were you around for the was it we'll just call it J.C. Penneys when it hit in the clothes rack?
It wasn't Penneys. It was
Kmart?
No, it's over in Lincoln Square Shopping Center. It was like where Goodies is.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the store, but it's like where Goodies.
One of those, yeah.
Yeah. We're in there shopping.
Did you see the way you just...
And this little shit decides he wants to play hide and seek without telling anybody he's going to play hide and seek. He just disappears. And I'm looking around for him. I can't find him. I'm hollering for him. His mom's hollering for him. We can't find him. So now we're kind of freaked out. Somebody's taking him. He's like 5 years old.
Cowboy boots on.
Well, cowboy boots on and shorts. Shorts and suspenders. And anyway,
Oh shit.
So we tell the management at the store, so they lock the doors. They lock the doors, and they've got everybody looking for him. And he still won't come out.
He's just in there giggling is all you're doing, man. Like,
He's hiding in his clothes rack, the round clothes rack. He climbed up in the clothes, and he's hiding in the rack. And the only thing you see is his boots hanging out the bottom. Anyway. Yeah, so once we found him, talk about livid. His mom took him out in the car and spanked his butt. I just cussed him the rest of the way home.
Funny that this story is being brought up because it was just, we'll say, I think it was just like literally 2 weeks ago, but we're in JCPenney's, my daughter and I, and she fucking does that, right? She fucking jumped in a clothes rack. Like, she was right behind me. I turn around and she's not there. And I'm like, hey, where are you at? She didn't say anything. And I'm like, if you don't get your fucking ass out here right now, I said, I'm busting it. And she just bam, popped out of the clothes rack. And I was like, listen, I did that shit when I was like 5 years old. And I was like, I had the whole store looking for me, all right? I was like, I got my ass beat, all right? Don't repeat what I did.
The mother's curse works, man. So I hope you have a child that grows up just like you, so you can see what it's like. Yeah,
I've said that for years.
Yep, no, yeah. I'm getting my repentance with my second child, for sure.
No, yeah, but for real, that's what she did. And yeah.
But see, she was smart enough to come out when you hollered for her. You, on the other hand, I'm winning this game. They ain't never finding me.
Oh yeah, troublemaker. Yeah, to say the least. But I do remember when Santa, I don't know if it was the same store, had given me a piece of hard candy when I was young, and it got lodged in my throat. And Mom's like right there in front of everybody with her hand down my throat, pulling out the.
He had a flip top head, and her arm was down his throat, about to her elbow.
Pulled it out.
That's your tonsils. Put that back.
So yeah, pretty funny.
But yeah, he do some mischievous stuff. Just random stupid stuff. Like, we went to visit my mom. So we're at my mom's apartment. And Brook goes in the back bedroom to play. He's got some toys, figuring, whatever, action figures, and he's supposed to be back there playing, being a good child. And
I am not. Spoiler alert.
We go back there, and he has got a knife from somewhere, and he has cut up the bed rails of my mom's waterbed.
Hey, at least I didn't cut up the waterbed.
Yeah, I've been there.
I
Unfortunately,
I'm like, why? Just why?
It was there.
Why? You could have cut anything in the whole world, but why did you have to cut up the bed? You know,
destructive little fucking shit, man. And it's crazy because I remember. I mean, I'm not saying I remember doing it, but I remember like getting in trouble for it.
Oh, you got in trouble, that's for sure.
Yeah, I totally remember getting in trouble for that. So.
Made you the person you are today, right?
Yeah, I'm a very disciplined person now. Self-discipline, motivation, dedication. Well, actually, more or less, embracing the ADHD, because the knowledge is out here now about that. You know what I mean? And back then, it was just, obviously people were still learning about it, and they were just like, here's this drug that worked on, like, we'll say 100 kids who had ADHD, and then so let's give it to the rest of them. But it just dumbs you down and zombifies you so much that, and when it wears off, you're right back to being a fucking...
Well, what it would do for you is it would dope you up while you were at school, so you behaved at school. By the time you got home, it wore off, and you was 3 times worse than what you was before you was taking the medicine for that. And when we had taken you to the doctor about that, she was like, we're going to try this for 6 months. And we'll check with the school and see how you progressing and all that stuff, and which was fine. We did it for 6 months, but then when we went back to the doctor and said, so what do you think? And have you talked to the school? And she's like, no, I haven't talked to the school. And I was like, well, wait a minute. The whole deal of this was you're going to try this drug. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't like taking drugs,
right.
No. Of any kind.
Still don't to this day.
Right. And if you're not going to follow through with what you said, then for 6 months we've doped you up to go to school, but then you're 3 times worse when you come back home
Right.
from school because you're bouncing off the walls because it's wore off.
Right.
You know, so I was not a component. I was not a fan.
Right.
I might have been wrong, but
No, my parents did the same thing.
At the
We tried it
time-
for like 3 or 4 months, and they're like, "This ain't
Yeah.
right."
right.
But if the knowledge was out there like it is today, I'm just saying the internet and everything else, TikTok has opened my eyes to all the other people who have ADHD, and then like it's the exact same stories. The 80s babies, ADHD. Here's into the 90s, blah 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 blah. We'll drug you up, and then the 30 somethings now. Understanding like hyper focusing and how to strong point that. You know what I mean?
Right. Use it to your advantage and not.
Yeah, I might go head force into, or full force fucking head first and then, spend all this money hyper focusing on something like this podcast right here and just making it happen. Like I do it for me. I'm not looking for any monetary gain. You know what I mean? It's just something fun I wanted to do. And then I talked to other people who if I had a podcast, would you guys just want to do it to hang out? You know what I mean? It's just to shoot the shit. You know what I mean? To get people not necessarily out of their element, but break the cycle of your everyday norm, and get over here and just learn, from every Rabbi Rob Thomas. What did he say? He loved being around other people because he says he feels as himself he's just a collection of everybody he's ever met. He tries to learn at least one thing from
Well, we can all learn something from everybody.
Someone else. Yeah. And so I thought that was like really awesome. And so that's also a client that I'm doing work for now that he was down to come over here on the podcast and check it out. So what's got your attention over there?
Just realizing how many shows we play with Merther.
A lot.
All of them. Every one of them up there that is with Zurigo is with Merther.
Yeah. I was going to talk about Chip's band projects. I like the one I obviously grew up to was Dirty Sanchez, and I'll never forget they covered Weezer's Hash Pipe, right? So that was that's the trending song at the time or some shit. And so on we'll say I think it was a Ford, but the Aerostar,
yes,
Uncle Kevin, rest in peace, brother, was driving it, and I wrote I've got my hash pipe or something on the back windshield in the dirt, and then I drew a hitter and and then Kevin got pulled over.
Well, there's more to that story.
Oh, that's the story that I got.
That was the young child knowledge of the story.
Well, the band. Well, what happened is I had Kevin.
What had happened was
we put all the equipment for the band in this Aerostar van, and we went to a gig. I think it was either Rude House or Whitehall or one of the bars there. Hat Tricks in Whitehall or Garner's in Rude House. I don't remember which one, but we played out that night, and Kevin come and watched, and he was driving my van, and I was driving our car with your mom, whatever. And we were band gets free drinks, so we're drinking all night long and then buying drinks outside of that. And I probably had a gallon of moonshine that we passed around a little bit too. And when we left the bar, Kevin's like, man, are you sure you can drive? Are you okay? Yeah, man, I'm good. I can drive.
Sounds about right.
So anyway, I make it home and Kevin don't make it home. He get pulled over in Woodson. And I think he went to jail that night, and they took the van and
the equipment
The van to put the equipment in.
And I had to go get it the next day. But
so it was not because of me, you motherfucker.
You grew up for 25 years.
25.
Believing it's because you drew a picture on the back of the car.
Yeah,
it probably didn't help. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of.
Right. It was more of the driving sporadically
side to side.
He has a hash pipe.
And he was probably hitting a hash pipe.
Yeah, he probably was. Yeah.
And like he said, rest in peace, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's funny, dude.
Yeah. But we had some good times.
What do you think of the name of the show? I was told this joke dates back at least 30 years. And so I don't know why. So there's no significance behind it. I was just like, one day I was working and I was like, I'm gonna think of a name for a podcast. Because there's always, it's gotta be fucking just weird. You know what I mean? Not weird, but just off the wall.
Yeah, we tried one called The Last Show.
The Last Show?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Did you listen to The Last Show?
It's kind of like coming up with the band name.
Yeah.
I always thought the name for a band, the best name for a band would be Free Beer. Free Beer. So if it's on the marquee tonight, free beer. You'd always have a crowd.
Look at that. Look, put that in the fucking... I better go start a Facebook page about it right now. Before someone else takes it.
I mean, it was better than Dirty Sanchez, I thought.
I mean, Dirty Sanchez is fucking hilarious. It's great.
And the sad part about it was I didn't even know what a Dirty Sanchez was at the time.
I mean...
And then I found out, and I was like, oh.
I think I found out when you found out, yeah. So I knew at a young age you found out it, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man. So back to growing up in the 80s, I guess, early 90s, I don't know. When did you come to Illinois? When was that?
May of 1990.
Oh, so then you went right to Capitol Records, right?
Yeah. The whole deal was, if I found a job within 2 weeks of me coming here, I would stay. If I didn't find a job, I was going back home.
Oh fuck.
And the first day I was here, I got a job at Capitol Records and got hired. When I was in high school, I cared about two things: playing drums, chasing girls.
Yep.
That was it. That's all I cared about. That's all I wanted to do.
Right.
I did not try in high school. I did not apply myself like I should have. I'm the youngest of 6 kids, so I seen all my brothers, all my siblings, they would graduate from school and go to work, get married, have kids, and have families. I was not ready to do that. I still wanted to play drums.
Right.
So my senior year, I had made up my mind my senior year that if I failed my senior year, I could play another year in band.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind was done made up. I ain't doing shit all year long.
Right.
I'm going to school. I'm going to chase girls. I'm going to play drums. And I'm going to fail. Then I'm going to do the same thing next year.
Right.
And the principal called me down to the office like after the first quarter. He goes, Mr. Davis, we know what you're doing, and it's not going to work. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you're going to graduate this year. And I said, well, you can't graduate me if I don't do anything. He goes, Mr. Davis, listen to what I'm telling you. You're out of here. At the end of the year, you're graduating.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stubborn, and I was like, well, we'll see.
Yep, right.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Right.
So my senior year, I did exactly what I said. I was going to band class, skipping other classes, and going back to the band room, and then hanging out with the girls. That's
what you did.
That's what I did. And then Mom had a heart attack. And when she had the heart attack, I went to the hospital, and it was on a Friday. No, I don't remember the date. But it was the 83-84 school year, so it's somewhere in that ballpark.
No, we got to narrow it down.
So anyway, she said Mike Jones was a kid that was in marching band with me, and his parents was taking him to Eastern Saturday morning to do auditions for scholarships. And at the time, I didn't know it, but she told me later that the reason why she wanted me to go so bad, she goes, I want you to go with them tomorrow morning. So she's in the hospital. I said, well, if that's what you want me to do, that's what I'll do. But I found out later that the reason why she wanted me to do it was in case she died, she didn't want me to be there.
Oh.
So I went with them on that Saturday morning, and we had solo and ensemble earlier in the year. And I had done a drum solo called Drum Corps on Parade. Had all the rudiments in it and that kind of stuff. And I went down and I played that for my audition. And they offered me a 4-year scholarship from doing that solo.
So you're just kind of like, well, shit.
Yeah. I'm going to get to play drums again next year, but it ain't going to be at Holmes. It's going to be at Eastern.
Right.
And so I did feel out of place. They had what they called honor night at high school, and all the kids who got scholarships got to go up on stage and got an award or whatever. And I was up there with all the kids who worked their butt off all through high school to keep a GPA average. And then there was me up there who was a slacker who didn't keep a GPA average.
Right.
So I kind of felt a little out of place, but, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
But you had to feel at least a little bit like, I don't know. I knew what I was doing.
But yes and no. I kind of, because I thought, man, these poor kids, they went home every night. They did their homework. They turned it in.
I mean, because to be fair, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I spent my whole high school 4 years drawing, nonstop drawing in notebooks. I would take like 2 parts of a note, and then it would just be the rest of the page would be drawings. And parents used to get so mad. That's all I would do. I never did any homework or anything like that. And I mean, honestly, if I hadn't done that through all of high school, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I mean,
right,
it worked out in the end.
So we found our passions early in life. What we wanted to do.
Correct.
But then when I got to college, I didn't know how to study. I didn't know how to do the homework. I wasn't mature enough to make myself do the homework.
Right.
So I was digging marching band. You learned a new show every week. You learned new songs every week. And that was a good challenge, and I loved it. It was great. But to keep a GPA average, to keep a scholarship in college, I was sucking, and college sucked. I had no support,
Right.
My mom's in Covington, and I didn't have a car. I had a 10-speed bicycle, at this time because I couldn't afford to buy a car.
Had any of your other siblings gone to college?
No. And so, there was it was just a weird time in my life. I wound up staying 1.5 years, and then I dropped out. It was depressing because I couldn't keep up.
Right.
Music-wise, with the band and stuff, I was fine, but my other classes,
They're holding you back. Yeah.
I just couldn't. I couldn't hang with the big boys, and I had to drop out.
Right.
And so I did, and went back home.
I respect all of that because I'm not getting political, bringing the school situation up to it, but I mean, it does open your eyes that, the school system should have been teaching you different things all throughout, not just your childhood, but your mom's childhood,
well,
and then
here's the thing.
Teaching what really matters, you know what I mean? Not
So while we're talking about that, music's very important.
right. We wanted you to be president because we were going to say that every house in America was going to have a drum set in it.
Well, absolutely. I think they should. I think every kid that's born should get their first drum set.
Yeah. So,
but no, schools here
mm-hmm.
in Illinois are defunding the music programs.
Yeah, I did read about that.
They don't feel that it's important. Of course, I don't think they think math and reading's important anymore either. But that's another story. But as far as music, they've been trying to cut the music program for a long time. They did cut 5th grade band here.
Mm-hmm.
And I fought against that. They were saying that you need foreign language and driver's ed and you don't have time to be in band, is what some counselors were telling students.
Right.
But, we did the research. Jacksonville Association of Music.
Yep.
Here in town. We did research years ago. And found that Eastern Illinois University and Western University, Illinois University, would give scholarships if a kid could play an orchestra instrument, the cello, violin. They would give them a scholarship because there's no orchestras in Illinois. Jacksonville just happens to be one of the schools that still has an orchestra. And you probably didn't know this, but the time that I was at the high school that I volunteered my time up there, I volunteered my time 14 years helping the drumline here.
Mm-hmm.
And in those 14 years, there's plaques all around the band room wall for the jazz band. probably a 20-year reign of the number one jazz band in Illinois. And I love sports. I love football. I love baseball and all that. But if that was a football team that was number one for 20 years, there'd be a billboard here in town with bright lights on it and spotlights on it saying, we got the best football team ever.
Right.
Well, you got the best orchestra ever.
Right. And you're not highlighting
and
that.
nobody even knows it. Nobody. If you're not in the music program, you don't even know that it exists.
Right.
Which is sad. You know.
It is. So, pick up an instrument. Learn something. It's not really hard. I mean,
well, the whole part of it is it's music is just like any other foreign language. It's what it is. It's a foreign language.
That's how I graduated. I didn't take any Spanish because I took music theory. It was considered a foreign language, and that's how I graduated high school without taking Spanish or any other foreign language.
Right.
There you go.
Because it counts as that. Mm-hmm. And music is universal. You can go to any country and pull out a sheet of music, and it's the same as
shooting music here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should start speaking in music notes.
Math and music, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's the language of the universe.
Go hand in hand.
Yep.
Math and music. What's your preferred drum set? Like if you had, here's $5,000. Well,
what's your dream drum set?
Yeah, there you go. That's the question. Yeah.
I mean, I've never thought about it because I've always been poor, so I've always bought what I could afford.
Well, I mean, I knew you were a Tama guy because, you were a Tama guy. I was a Tama guy. You know what I mean?
I got Pearl Exports now. My first set was Ludwig. Anyway, I got Pearl Exports now.
Yeah, that's what sits in there. Yeah, so behind this studio, or in front, is my drum showroom or drum studio, drum
I would call that a kingdom.
Yeah, I love it.
Your drum kingdom you got set up.
I'm surprised he hasn't set all of them up into one massive drum set.
I do not have the room for that. Maybe next summer.
That no, you got plenty of room to just dick around.
Yeah.
You could do it. I'm surprised you haven't.
That's what I'm waiting for. When you set them all up, then I'm going to come over and make
big old Neil Peart.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
What you need to do is make up a big circle like that, but make the drum throne with two seats off one, so you guys can just rotate on one drum throne and play all the drums together.
That would be awesome.
That would be kind of sick. That would be kind of
dope. But you haven't done that yet.
Something to look into.
Gears are turning now.
Hey, that would be dope. Yeah, because I have 4 drum sets. I have another friend that he's still hounding me for it. I'll get back to you. I promise. He still wants me to buy it.
I've got 3.
Yeah.
I don't have any anymore. I wish I did. I need to get an electric drum set just to mess around on.
I thought that's what I thought about my next adventure would be an electronic drum set, or like selling all of these and getting a badass electronic drum set.
I wouldn't sell all of them. You want to keep at least one that you can play out.
Right.
Because, electric drum sets are great, but there's something about the sound of an acoustic drum set when you're playing live. You can feel it.
The whole... See, I'm not big on the electric drum set for playing out.
Exactly.
A lot of people are. And the reason why the people who are not drummers like those is because they can turn them down. They can turn them down.
Oh, yeah. Our band just got an electric drum set, and it's been so amazing for the last month being able to walk out of practice without my ears ringing.
Right. Because, a good percussionist will listen to the whole ensemble, and if they need to play softer, they'll play softer.
Huh.
A good percussionist will do that, and you can use a regular drum set to play.
The problem we had run into is just we're such a confined area, and it's got a tall ceiling, so it just echoes really bad. So we ended up
it bounces off the ceiling and kind of hits you right back in the face.
Everything, guitars and everything. By the time you get everything leveled up to an even level, it's just madness. So it's been nice to be able to turn down, at least practice. I wouldn't want to play out with an electric drum set. There's something it's like reading a comic book as opposed to reading a digital. There's something about it being there and feeling it and
Right, because when you're playing the electric drum set, it's more, to me, it's like beating on a drum pad. Which basically it is, because then you tune them so the sound comes through your speakers. And you can really make some really cool sounds. I grew up in the 80s, so I listened to bands like Prince and You could put the hand clap in there and all that stuff, you know. But you know, let's go crazy. But
yes.
But no, I'd rather have a regular drum set than an acoustic drum set playing out any day of the week.
What about a mix, like a hybrid? Maybe like a full acoustic drum set with like 3 or 4 pads thrown in there for whatever, a clap or whatever.
Sound effect. Yeah, sure. That'd be cool.
I think that would be the ultimate like setup, because then you have the best of all worlds then.
Right, but I wouldn't want my main like bass, snare, and my main toms be an acoustic or
what about like triggering your kicks?
Do you know much about that? You know what triggers are?
No, I'm old school.
I was gonna say,
you're the first person that ever told me about triggers on a drum set.
Yeah. So.
Don't worry, I'm only slightly above not knowing level. I know how that they do stuff, but I'm not really sure.
Right. No, I do not. I do not use triggers. No, there's nothing triggered on there. I mean, there are times where I hit replace stuff. So when I bring, I'll still play. I'm playing what you're hearing. You know what I mean? I just track that in a program, and I can take that drum set and turn it to whatever drum set I pretty much want. You know what I mean? I'm just hit replacing my tom for somebody else's badass tom.
I mean, it makes sense. We do the same thing with our guitar amps. Our guitar amps have different
the preamps and
we can be like, okay, we want to sound like Pantera. Here's all the effects, the full amp set. We make our amp sound. And it's just the same idea, I guess.
Right.
It's not taking away from your ability to play the instrument as much as it is just changing how it sounds. Like,
right. I guess you're right. Yeah, I want an electric kit for more of like if I'm content creating, doing drum videos, because I think for me it would just be easier to dial in. The responsive, I can do a lot of. I feel like I could play metal better with a better response instead of.
They've come a long way since the last time I played electric drums too. They got some nice pads.
Yeah. They've got some newer, nicer things that feels like the mesh heads.
Yeah.
The mesh heads. So you can have that as your tom, and then there's sensors for a rim on top and bottom that you can change those to be whatever. You can change it to a clap or change it to a rim shot.
How far they had come until we just got that drum set at practice.
Wild. Right.
See, I haven't messed with the electronic drum set in probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So a lot changes in 2 years.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to show you the Jay Weinberg him playing on one.
I will have to say, I go back to when you were a kid and you were learning. I remember coming home from work and you were in the garage and you were playing on my drum set and you were frustrated. You're like, I can't get it. I can't get it. I just can't do it. And I said, Brook, first thing you need to do is quit listening to what I listen to and play the music you like. Listen to the music that you like and practice playing that. So a week later, I came home and I noticed I had 2 regular bass drum pedals, put on the bass drum. And
next to each other on one keyboard.
Yep.
Yes.
I did it too.
Yeah.
So I come home and I'm like, I hollered at him. I say, hey, I see you've been playing my drum set. And he goes, yeah, it's getting better. So I was like, okay, play something. So I think it was Slipknot he played. And he got on there and his little legs was playing the double bass.
In between the snare and the floor tom.
Yeah, he just had his legs together and he's like, with his feet. And I was like, damn, that's impressive. And he got up and I high-fived him. He went in the house to get ready to eat supper or whatever it was. And then I sat down and I tried to put my feet together. And there was no way in hell that was working.
This is low ass motherfucker.
I was like, how in the hell does he do that? And to this day, I'm totally impressed with the speed of Brook's double bass.
How was it mentoring a left-handed person playing drums?
Well, I told him he could switch the floor and a snare to the opposite side if he wanted to do that. But I come home and he never switched it.
Yeah, I was gonna say to this day he's never.
And he plays
open armed.
Yeah, he plays open armed.
Goofy foot, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
He plays as if he's right-handed, which I think that's impressive. But
still to this day, there's certain beats that I can do like this, But if I do this, I can't do it. So, for example, I doubt these people hear it, but it's just like, dude, that beat right there. But if I cross it over, it's I still hear it on that side. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's my down because
that comes down to muscle memory,
lead.
though.
Yeah, I lead with my left a lot. You know what I mean? When I start a roll.
I'm sure there's exercises you can work on to like break that habit. It's got to be a muscle memory more than
it is.
Right.
It is.
It just comes down to your basics. Going back to practicing, take a drum pad and start practicing your rudiments.
And I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I don't do that, and I probably haven't done that in 20 fucking years. You know what I mean? And that's probably why I guess I'm at a stone wall right now, and that's why well, I have been working on I don't know the name for it, so I'm not gonna drag it out. But it's just you go left right dude. You know what I mean? So it's da. So it's 6 beats, but then you add to it. You know what I mean? But so then you can go tom 1 2 hits, tom 2 2 hits, and then your double kicks.
So
you know what I mean?
16th note, basically one handed.
Yeah. But then also so my upper is left handed and my lower is right handed. You know what I mean? So I still do dominant stuff with my right kick, but I'm left hand dominant up here. So it should be left foot dominant when I do my roll, but it's not. So I don't. It's very weird. Being unorthodox behind the drum set.
He just didn't do it because he was too lazy to switch the two, or he just was like, I can do this. Just leave me alone. Kind of
See, I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I think it was. No, I don't want to take the time to move the snare and the floor tom around.
Right.
And then I think the other part of it was the stubbornness that I'm going to get this. Once he realized that, hey, this shit might work, I'm going to do it. And then, well, as you can see, when he puts his mind doing something, regardless what it is, he pretty much, regardless, good, bad, or ugly, he'll do it.
Like you, man, all I cared about was just playing drums and getting chicks. I mean, I just wanted to excel at something.
Hasn't changed.
Has not changed. No, but I enjoy it now. I mean, that's what I was telling him. I mean, I understand that we're all adults, not just you, but just everybody that we kick it with these days. And I'm like, if younger me could look at myself now and I'm like trying to get people together to jam, I have a house that we can jam in. You know what I mean? Temperature controlled.
Get yourself an electric drum set.
Temperature controlled. You know what I mean? We're not practicing in the storage unit. We're not practicing in someone's garage. You know what I mean? Where the weather is just beating up the drums. Like it's just there's all these variables now. That I can't even. Minus you. Trying to find people who are even dedicated enough. Like there's all this talent just wasting away around me that I try to get them. I guess it's out of their comfort zone now.
I think it's that, and people just find different passions throughout life. They find,
Well, people settle.
Hard.
What happens is, when we're younger, we got these big ambitions and goals and stuff. The problem is that while we're chasing those, the right people don't see. The right people, you didn't play in front of the right people. And what I mean by that is everybody who's made it big had to be found by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So they were at the right place at the right time with the right people in the audience. This is what I tell my JDI kids. We go to these events and we do parades and we do performances, and I tell them to always be on your best behavior and always put best forth your best performance. And I say, because you never know who's in the audience. And I just told them this over the weekend. You never know who's in the audience. And so my examples to them is we played at Busch Stadium. As soon as Busch Stadium was done, I got emails and phone calls from people that I don't know asking if we could come and do the St. Louis 4th of July parade, the St. Louis Thanksgiving Day parade.
Right.
Because of the performance, and they saw us.
A morale booster.
The right people saw us and has invited us to these other things. So yesterday, we did the Teamsters company picnic at Boondocks in Springfield. And while we were there, the lady came up to me, and because people only reach out to me by messenger or email or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so I was like, well, thanks for inviting us to do this. She goes, well, I saw you at the Concord parade. And when they said we needed an entertainment for our company picnic, she goes, you were the first person I thought of.
That's cool.
So, 2 examples of being at the right place, the right time, and somebody seeing what we can do. And so, there are a lot of musicians who are awesome musicians that'll never be found because the right people
weren't there,
are not seeing them perform or play.
Right.
I always thought that of Matt Cummings from Carrollton. This guy's a guitar god. Stevie Ray Vaughan, blues. He's just phenomenal. This kid is phenomenal, and I swear, and I've told him for years that if he was in any state besides Illinois, you know, if he was in California, Texas, even because the blues, or Tennessee, or somebody would snatch him up and give him a contract in a heartbeat because he's that phenomenal.
I think there's a lot more of it today is that people just don't have the passion they thought they had, or they were playing music for the wrong reasons. Instead of just playing drums because you enjoy playing drums, they were playing drums to be a drummer. You know what I mean?
Right.
As opposed to enjoying the craft of it. Especially with, it's so easy today to just record, just sit down, and if you got a little guitar, like just do it real quick. And then,
So that's what I mean. It's so easy to record something these days that I feel like, I'm not saying everybody should be a music producer or a songwriter.
No, but it's
saying
just
that
as easy to just put it down.
Yeah.
If you're actually an artist
Dedicated
and like
to it
what
enough.
you're doing, you're
Right.
not worried about it doing anything. You just want people to hear it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the difference between your generation and ours. When we were, you know, in my heyday, when we were doing this, I would have loved to have this, you know, I mean, as far as, you know, we turn on the stereo at home and play along with records or whatever, invite some friends over, you know, that unless you got a cool gig or something, you know.
I mean, you can now, though. You can always get yourself a drum set, get yourself a nice little laptop, or that's all you got to do now. So,
And that's, you know, and even if you didn't want to, I'm like, and that's why I just say it's like your phone call, you can come right, like, I don't give a shit. You can call me whenever, come over and just jam. Like, I would just be happy just to see some, like, I know that you're teaching drumline, you know what I mean?
Your not priorities, what's the word I'm looking for? Your energy is being directed somewhere else at the moment.
And I feel like I'm not saying that your hobby or your absolute passion, which is my absolute passion, I don't want it to like fade away from you. Like, you know, when's the last time that you absolutely sat down and enjoyed yourself behind a drum set? And I guarantee you probably, I mean, you might be able to tell me when, but I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, when did you enjoy?
May 4th.
Yeah, I know.
2018.
Well, I remember the last time that we were all behind a drum set was me, you, and Jacob was Father's Day fucking like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? On Pioneer or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And we were just talking about that. Phil,
Yeah.
Laura's dad, came up and we were talking about that. And she goes, Sharon, his wife, was like, you guys need to break out the drum set again and have another little jam session. That was really cool when you guys did that. And I was like, yeah, it's been a while. Because he plays drums too.
Is there a place in your house you can have a drum set set up?
Oh,
I was gonna say you got enough room. You should be able to have some little nook that you can tuck away into.
When we first moved in, I was going to make. There's a room down the basement. I was going to make it my music room.
Okay, see, I haven't been down the basement.
But then,
is it fully finished or is it?
No, it's just
brick.
But anyway, right now my drum set is in cases in my garage, and but because we had so much other stuff, there was some. Laura's mom had passed, and she got a bunch of furniture and stuff that we had to bring.
Stuff happened and stuff got put on. Yeah, life happened. Yeah.
So you know, you have those things, and anyway, at some point, I mean, I enjoy playing, but I got to the point, I guess I'm old, and I don't want to play in the bars every weekend. And when you get with a band, you know, you get some really ambitious people, and they're like, all right, we need to practice 3 nights a week. Okay, that's cool. I understand that. So we go and practice. You work out your song list. You get your song sets together. And then it's book time. And then, you know, you start out, we'll just book out twice a month, you know, that's a good round. 2 times a month. And then once it gets started, then it's boom, you're booked every Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. And I can tell you, working at Mobile, working 12-hour shifts, I can go to work 6 in the morning, get off 6 at night, go home, jump in the shower, already have my drums loaded in a Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
They always said you'd be a redneck if you get a 10-piece set of drums in a Saturn. And jump in the car and go to a gig and play a gig from 9 until 1. Break everything down, get everything loaded up 2 o'clock, drive back home, get home 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, take a shower, go back to work 6 a.m., work to 6 p.m., go home, shower, jump in the car, go play a gig, come back home. And then, I'm working, got a family, so I'm trying to take care of both and play drums, you know. So you spend 3 days of working 12-hour shifts and getting an hour of sleep, and then you come home on Sunday, and then you just die when you get off work at 6 o'clock because you've been up for as long as you have.
The entire weekend, and everything.
Right. And then the other guys in the band, they don't have jobs.
Yeah.
So they party all night, they sleep all day, and then they get up and they're ready to drink and party all night again. And then, because they don't have families.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's finding the right
people.
Right people that you can rely on, and yeah.
And then, some guys are like, well, you show up at the gig just in time to set your drums up and get started. Yeah, that's because I have a job and I have and I'm sorry that you don't have a job and you can be here at noon and start drinking, before the gig. But yeah, and then, that causes bad blood between people who you think are your friends and that kind of stuff. But, I've got to the point now that I love to go out and play once or twice a month, but not make it a full-time job.
Right.
See,
I'm not itching to play out. I want to do big shows. It's like I was jamming with those guys before a couple months ago. And I just wanted to, get on to be announced schedules, for big bands and just play those shows. Like, it's nothing against bar shows. I just feel like there's enough bar bands to do that, like that. I feel like they got it covered. Like, I'm good. Like, I'd like to play covers with my friends, you know what I mean? But I'd like to do a rendition, like make it our own and then record it, and maybe, with this day and age of the internet, that, just an example, System of a Down, would come across their FYP or their YouTube, you know what I mean? And, they're like, wow, I really like this, you know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. It's just like, I don't know, it's the internet these days.
Yeah, I was getting ready to argue with you about, like, you gotta start somewhere. You gotta start in the bar because that's where you start. But then you said the internet. I'm like, you're right. No,
right. So
we should be embracing, like, hey, we have this way of getting out there without having to do the every weekend gig thing.
Right. And so you guys, today a band could get together and just never go out. Never go out in front of a crowd. Just have
a
studio.
It sucks though. Trust me. We've been playing for 3 years. We haven't got to play a gig. I'm itching to be able to just be in front of people and play out.
But for practices and rehearsal things, you guys can record what you're doing at practice.
Right then and there.
And then look at it and say, well, wait a minute, I hit a couple wrong notes over here. Let's change this up and do this, and let's try this out. And then you can actually see and hear. Back in my day, we had a cassette player, and you push record.
Pay studio time, yeah.
Hope you got the speaker or the microphone in the right place to be able to pick it.
Right. And of course, we didn't have a soundboard, so everybody just, there was a guitars, amps, and then the drums, and that's where a good drummer will play soft for you. If you got to play soft, you play soft. You use dynamics, basically. Right. And, like I tell my JDI group, we're all playing drums. So you got to learn to listen to each other. There's times when the bass drums are loud and need to be loud. And there's times when they're supposed to be soft. There's times when the quints are supposed to be soft. You got to learn dynamics. You got to learn to read the music. And I do my best to teach the kids how to read the music. I can teach kids to play by ear pretty quick because they pick up. You just play rhythms, Yep. And they can emulate that, But then if I show them the 16 notes that I just played on a piece of paper, they don't know what it is. So then I explained this is counted 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and that's a 16th note, and that's what this looks like. See these four notes, double bar.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 of them. That's your 16th notes, And I show them measures and where repeats are and codas and stuff like that in the music. So not only are they going to get to learn how to play drums, but they're going to learn how to read sheet music as well.
I'll tell you that it's they'll come back to help them later in life, wherever they choose to go to, if they continue music or anything. Because I'm glad that I did learn those types of things in high school and marching band and music theory and stuff. Because going to program, I played a lot of industrial techno. I made a lot of music on the computer, and to be able to do that, you got to place every single note, and you got to know exactly, is this a 16th note, is this an 8th note, is it going to be a triple within like a half rest pause or whatever it is. So that's really helped out, honestly, in a surprising way that when I did learn it back in the day, I would not have estimated or guessed that's how I would be utilizing it like this. Yeah. I know what timing signatures are. That's really helped me out in learning to figuring out which way to record things, and just a lot of little things that you don't realize, that having a school-funded music program for kids who are...
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
How important it is.
Well, these kids will never be able to find that outside of a school. It's one thing to if they're trying and don't go with it, but if the kids that would be into it don't have the access to it, you've lost Jimi Hendrix, you've lost,
Sure.
any of these musicians that like had the opportunity to just stumble and be able to try something out and then became great at it.
And that's why I feel like I am just a motivated friend to not let like your creativiness in you go. You know what I mean? Like, even if you just do one drum video, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You have it. Now, what if you see it and you watch it all the time? Because I just watched like 6 of my own drum videos today while I was cleaning, because I was like, I tell myself I'm going to put out a drum video a week, and I've slacked. I haven't put one out in a month because I've been doing other shit, you know what I mean? And not saying that I have viewers out there that are just like waiting on me, you know what I mean? Because that's not the case. But if it becomes the case, then I need to get on the grind and be able to stay and do that, you know what I mean? So, like, I watched my own drum videos today. I watched, like I said, 5 or 6 of them, and I'm like, I really need to do a drum video. So what if, I do one drum video for you, even if you're the only one that watches it and you get the inspiration and you're like, man, like that felt good. That looks good.
Oh, I definitely want to come and do it. And, And we'll, cause I do love to play.
Yeah.
But here lately, what I've been focusing on, with JDI, I work a day job and then I do JDI,
of course,
2 nights a week.
Yeah.
And what I'm working on right now, I had 4 seniors graduate this year, so I've had to move kids around, and I had to promote some kids from the beginners class up to the big kid class.
Time to advance.
Time to move up. But they've been with me for 3 years,
right?
So I know what their levels are,
right?
So I've moved them up, but now I've had to teach these new kids. I have 6 songs in a set. We had 2 complete sets, and I was starting to work on our 3rd set. So of music, so we can do a 30-minute show, no problem. And so I had to take a step back when I lost 4 seniors this year, and reteach these kids that I brought up. And then I took kids that was playing bass drum and moved them to snare, and move kids around. So now I've got to reteach them the first 2 sets before we can move on to the 3rd set.
On average, how long in your head, do you have a game plan on how long you think it would take you to have them learn it? Or
in 3 months they've learned it. I've got that. And then what I also did is to have a 3rd set, because kind of like you saying a drum video a week or a month,
a backup plan. Yeah,
I try to do. My year starts from October to October. So this is my 4th year. And so I was starting to learn my 3rd set, because the first year I didn't know where we were going.
Right.
Now that it's kind of got established and we're moving, I feel like that I needed to have 6 new songs for this year.
Right.
And so I went back, and back when Jacob was a freshman in high school, I taught the high school kids all the features that they do today. Everything they do today behind the football stands is the stuff that I taught Jacob's group back in 2006, 2008.
Right.
So I'm like, those are not the high school's features. Those are my features.
Right.
They can still do them. I don't care. But we're going to do them as well. But I'm not going to do them in Jacksonville. But when we go to outside of Jacksonville and surrounding, like we went to Hannibal and Raymond this past weekend.
Yeah.
And we went Springfield, I can implement those into our show.
Right.
Because most of the kids are in the high school band. They know them. I just had to clean it up and then teach it to the kids that didn't know it. So that's what I've done the last 2 weeks. So now I've got 3 complete sets of features that we can do.
I like that.
And so now the 6 songs that I had set out to learn this year, now we're working on those. It'll take me 2 or 3 months to get them to learn those 6 songs and memorize them. And then once they get them memorized and learn, then I'll choreograph them. And then that's where I'll just sit around and think. Sometimes I get a chessboard out, and I'll set out chessboard, and I'll use pieces from the chessboard and put them in the blocks, snares, quints, cymbals, bass drums. Mm-hmm. And I'll just replay the song over and over again. And then I'll move the pieces in different formations.
That's cool. Where'd you learn that from?
Something I started doing.
Really?
And so I'll use I'll use the chess pieces and listen to the song and count out the measures, and then kind of move them here, there, and that, and then I'll try to think of some.
He is a chess player, ladies and gentlemen, because I play chess because of you.
Yeah, I taught you how to play chess.
Yeah, I was in chess club too.
I know how to play chess.
Yeah, I was in chess club.
Me and Reagan play every weekend.
Really?
Yep.
I haven't played chess in a long time.
Got her a nice glass and wooden chessboard for Christmas last year. We
there you go. I got a glass set of pieces of chessboard.
But yeah, moving them around, like chess, getting everything.
Yeah, so I kind of move them around and kind of get an idea, and I'll get me a little piece of paper and pen and put, okay, they can do this, and I kind of make me some little notes just to remember, because I'm old and senile. And then I'll go back to the thing, and once I get the music memorized, I'll have them come upstairs, and I'll take a speaker, and I'll just play the song, and I'll say, okay, I want you to move here, I want you to move there, and these counts, and this part of the song, you're going to do this. And then we'll just practice it with speaker, just going through the moves. And then once I feel they got a good feel for what I want them to do, then we'll strap the drums on. And then we'll have them play it and do the moves with it. And then that's where I critique it and change things around and add different things to it. And then it might look really good the first couple times, and then I'll come back in and I'm like, well, I really don't like that, but we'll change this around to this. And it's really, well, you've seen the outcome.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't take marching band in high school?
Yeah.
You did? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't in Jacksonville. I was in Franklin. Right. So, I mean, and then, so like I said, I got Chip teaching me from 5 until, I mean, I'm in school, and I go home to him, and I see him play, and he's, it's just, daily learning,
right, and
living with the teacher basically, and so by 7th grade, Mr. Burchard, the I don't even know what his background was as a teacher, because when he got fired or let go or quit from our high school, I don't know where he went after that. Turner. I just know that he ended up at a Taco Bell too. Oh. Yeah, he was a cashier at Taco Bell, and I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And so by 7th grade, he couldn't teach me any more than whatever. But I do remember that I was in grade school, and he came there to get snare drummers, and so he did a pattern on the cafeteria thing, and that's when I got to be in 5th grade band in 3rd grade.
Yep.
Would you play in marching band?
Fucking snare, and you. Oh, don't even get me started.
I played snare. I played snare my 8th grade year, and I was like, never again.
Man, listen. All right.
My freshman sophomore year, I played kick drum, bass drum, and then my junior senior year was quints.
Me being
so much better than snare.
Me being short and
Those thighs, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's on my knees. You know what I mean? So it was bad, man. It was just a bad deal. They got adjustable shit these days, and so back then, just being a small kid.
Back then, you got, especially in a small school.
One size fits fits all.
You got
my
whatever
ass
was there.
Yeah, and having to carry back because like you had to break down your snare, and it was in a big black carrying case, hard plastic. I got to carry that motherfucker all the way from school to home. I mean, that was probably that was a good 10, 12 blocks, I think, in Franklin.
Man.
Oh yeah, I wish I had this meme that was a house.
I never want to play snare for the fact though too. I liked having the different tones, and I think that's just why I eventually became playing a guitarist instead of drummer. Just I liked the idea of having more than one tone out of it at least.
Right. I played also it was everybody got changed around too. You know what I mean? So I was like, it was bass and snare, because obviously I was like, I'm the advanced one in it. So
right.
Yeah, and then but I mean I played cymbals.
I've never played cymbal.
Yeah, I was in jazz band for a little while. Remember, I got to bring Clayton in, a buddy of mine I went to school with, because he was an electric guitarist, and I finally convinced whoever the band teacher was at the time, I think it might have been Mrs. Florence, to bring Clayton in as...
How'd that go?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, he was there.
I didn't know if he could read, if he was able to read music or not.
Yep, it was all dope. I remember that. That was so awesome. But this episode's coming to an end. So Chip, we'll give you the last shout out. Go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug, and the show and camera is on you, friend.
Well, Jacksonville Drumline Institute. Students, if you have kids that are wanting to learn how to play drums, beginner class $20 a month, and if they make up to the performers class, it's $50 a month. Which is real cheap compared to regular drum lessons, $25 an hour.
With an experienced, the guy's a veteran. He's my father. I've been drumming for 30 plus years.
When do you guys practice?
Wednesday nights, 5:30 to 8 for the big group, and then 5 to 6:30 for the beginners class on Thursday, and then the big group comes back in at 6:30 to 8:30 on Thursday nights. I was doing it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I decided that
gets a little hectic.
So I moved the beginners class and then had the older kids come in behind the beginners on Thursday nights. So that way, that kind of frees up my Friday nights so that I can go watch Madison cheer at the high school.
That's good.
And then while I'm there, I also check out the band. While I'm there, because most of the kids that are in high school band, a lot of them are in my group.
They're going through a rough time this year.
Oh yeah, your daughter dates.
Yeah.
Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday he was like, I said, you guys want to go out for lunch after our performance? And he's like, well, kind of got a date with my girlfriend. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. I said, you're going to just live on love, right? And he goes, oh, yeah, it's going to live on love.
Live on love, brother.
Their anniversary was just 6 months.
Oh,
anniversary.
Moving. It's crazy. But thank you, Chip, for coming to be on this show. Yeah, thank you. It was awesome. I'm sure we'll most definitely have you back. We'll try to get kick Haley out of here and get all drummers.
I can play drums to an extent.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't play metal. I have not the stamina to do that, but I can play some jazz and funk.
But
I think jazz is cooler than the punk.
I like playing funk. It's fun. It's just hard.
No, don't get me wrong. I like it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you go back and look at the old jazz, Gene Krupa and some of those guys, I post videos of the old timers on the web.
They're good.
All the time. They're phenomenal.
They do some amazing things.
They are phenomenal. And then you sit back and look, and they're playing traditional grip.
Yeah, no, that's something I never got into.
And they're playing traditional grip, and they're doing all kinds of cool stuff with the hi-hat, playing the bottom of it, the top of it. Mm-hmm. and never miss a lick, throwing their sticks in the air and catching them. Did you see the last one I posted?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, you have to check that one out.
I will. Thank you everyone for another episode of the So Fucking Awesome Show. Check us out on YouTube and a podcast near you. Chip, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Chris Haley, as always, a pleasure. I'm Brook. We're signing off.